Welcome, everybody. I'm Roger Killen, your guest speaker, and I'm going to be speaking for approximately 60 minutes on the subject of amplify your impact, your credibility, and your income with a TED-style talk. The first thing I need you to know is that I have no formal affiliation with TED whatsoever. The thoughts that I'm going to be sharing with you are my own. They are not TED's. And having said all that, I also want you to know that I am a huge fan of the TED vision, which of course is to support the spreading of ideas that are worth spreading. And I'm also a complete fan of the TED brand. I hold it in the utmost respect. Here's a few housekeeping rules. Please turn off any distractions. Over the next 60 minutes, you're going to have some aha moments that, without any BS, can transpire to be game-changing for both your personal and your professional lives. So please don't waste this opportunity by taking a phone call or dealing with an email. Please turn off all distractions. You'll thank me 1 hour from now. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat. Iman will interrupt me periodically with the questions, and we'll deal with them in little batches about every 15 minutes. The recording is of the event is going to be made and then posted up onto the EIN YouTube channel in a couple of hours, and I will let all attendees know with a link that you can go watch those, and not only watch them, please share them with the entrepreneurs in your life, because the whole purpose of what we're doing is to support entrepreneurs to build better businesses. Take notes. Yes, we're going to record, but take notes anyway, because the very act of recording is going to increase what you recall by upwards of 30%. I hope to take around about 60 minutes, but forgive me if I'm a little bit plus or minus. 60 minutes is my goal. And at the end, I'm going to be giving you an exclusive offer. So hang fire for that. Now, a question that I suspect is rattling around in your mind right now is, why on earth should you pay any attention to a single word that I have to say? So I feel I need to justify my authority, establish my authority before the rest of what I say carries any weight. As Iman said, it all began in 2011. 2011, I turned 60, cast about for a give back project. And in 2012, along with 4 other friends, including Iman, we created TEDx Talk. The event actually happened in 2013. This was the 2013 stage, pretty modest, and the speaker's name is Gobinder Gill, and Gobinder was looking out at an audience of less than 100 people. Fast forward 5 years, this was the stage, and this was the audience. In 2018, I created another brand. That brand was intended to complement the TED brand. The TED brand is Ideas Worth Spreading. Get Inspired Talks brand is all about ideas making action happen. In aggregate, I've produced 8 major events, worked with 103 speakers. I'll tell you about number 104 in a moment. And together we have created some powerful impact. Impact measured in the form of standing ovations from the live stage, and impact in the form of video views when the videos were launched onto the YouTube channel, and impact in terms of the books that were published and the best-selling authors that were created. The most recent guest is here tonight, most recent client. Her name is Jackie Simmons, all the way from Sarasota in Florida. Now here's Jackie's relationship with me. Jackie was due to deliver her speech on January the 26th, 2021 at TEDx Paseo, which is in Las Vegas. Several weeks before that, Jackie was struggling with her script. She wasn't happy with the coaching she was getting. And Jackie and I are in a support group. So Jackie reached out and asked me if I'd give her a hand. And of course, because I love her to pieces, I was delighted to do that. Her video was launched on May the 4th. Now, May the 4th is 5 weeks from now, 5 weeks ago. Since then, Jackie has racked up 18,000 video views. And it's not just the absolute number of views that's important, it's the engagement along with the views. So Jackie has rattled up 300 plus comments and 250 or thereabouts likes. Her video has been so successful that 2 weeks ago, she was promoted from TEDx to TED. So Jackie is now a TED speaker, in addition to being a TEDx speaker, but I can only imagine that she'll harness the power of the credibility to legitimately be called a TED speaker going forward. And so when you ask the question, why should you pay attention to what I'm about to say? The answer is quite obvious. It's because I have the experience and the results to prove my expertise and my authority. Here you are, you're on the left. You're a content expert. Inside your head or your heart, you have a big idea, but that's where it's stuck. It's not getting out there into the world where it can have a powerful impact. And so your influence is probably quite local and probably quite limited. What we want to do in the time we have together is give you a roadmap to get to that person on the right-hand side of your screen, somebody who has global authority, somebody whose idea is out there in the world making a massive impact, and in the course of the journey, that somebody is also attracting fame and fortune. Now, how do you get from the left to the right? That's what today is all about. And other qualifiers is that it's important to get from the left to the right in a way that is quick, that is enjoyable, and that is as low cost as possible. The way to do this, and I'm probably the first person to say this ever to you because it's such an unusual thing to say. The way to get from the left to the right is to start with a TED style talk. What is a TED style talk? You're probably thinking to yourself. Its whole purpose is to share an idea. Ideas we're spreading. The whole purpose of a TED style talk is to share your idea. Your talk is short and sweet, 18 minutes maximum. And I emphasize maximum because that maximum was set in 1984. And since then, attention spans have shrunk. So think maximum as being somewhat less than 18 minutes now. There are some restrictions. No lectern or notes, no Q&A, no breakouts. It has to be non-salesy and non-technical. In fact, if you reveal a logo or talk about a company, there's a reasonable chance that your video that is made of your TED style talk will not actually be launched. The speakers are curated. That means they're selected one at a time and they are unpaid. And finally, you will see the majority of TED style talks at TEDx events, TED events, but because there's so many more TEDx events than there are TED events, it's most likely that you will be exposed to your TED style talks at a TEDx event. TEDx, what's this all about? Here are 10 fast facts. And if you pick any one of them, you will come to a pretty instant realization that we're not talking about an organization or a brand that's small potatoes. The TED and the TEDx brand are powerful. This brand is one of the most loved and the most respected brands in the world. If you can tuck into its shadow, if you can leverage the power of this media superpower, some of this influence, some of this impact, some of this reach will wash off onto you. And entrepreneurs, the amazing, amazing fact about this brand is that you can use it absolutely for free. How can that be? But yes, it is. You can use it for me. You have to comply with certain rules, but when you do, you can avail yourself of this media superpowers brand for free. Now you're probably wondering, how come the people in my life who have done a TEDx talk never made it to the right? They're not global authorities. They aren't having massive impact. They're not creating fame and fortune. And the answer is because they never knew what to do or how to do it. And what I'm telling you now is that what to do is to use leverage 4 times. In a minute, I'll tell you how to do that, but let me just explain what I mean by use leverage 4 times. Well, the first leverage is to describe your idea from a TEDx stage. By all means, describe it from a Rotary stage, from a Toastmaster stage, in a school gymnasium, from your business organization stage. But the big kahuna, the real McCoy of delivering your idea, describing your idea, happens from a TEDx stage. I will explain why. We are going to measure the impact of your idea and how you deliver it in using 2 metrics. The first is credibility, and the second is marketing assets. Obviously, more credibility, more marketing assets, more upward pressure on what you want to create, global authority, massive impact, and fame and fortune for yourself. So you've taken a TEDx stage, and now you have added to your content expertise, you have added the status of TEDx speaker. This is a badge of honor. This is powerful. This is a door opener. In addition, you've created 2 marketing assets. One is a legacy talk. A legacy talk means that you've got a talk in your back pocket and you can pull it out anytime and deliver a superb talk at a personal or professional environment. You've also taken some photographs with you on the stage with the TEDx logo in the background. Those images are powerful credibility builders. So now we're beginning to use our leverage a little bit, applying upward pressure to global authority, to massive impact, fame, and fortune. Second leverage, let's promote your TEDx video on YouTube. The point of you taking the TEDx stage, you might think, is to entertain this live audience. It is not. There is a higher priority, and that is to make a high production value video. But that video has little impact if no one ever sees it. After 5 weeks, Jackie's video has been seen 17,000 times. Imagine the impact that it has triggered. Let's run this through our little system. You're now a YouTube rock star. That means you've got a whole pile of video views and high engagement. And ideally, you've fast start. You've got seriously big numbers within 30 days of launch. You've created a high production value 15-minute video, priceless. SESO stands for standing ovation. The power of you having a standing ovation in front of an audience and making a little snippet, a little clip of that, the power of that little snippet in getting you subsequent speaking gigs is huge. You've also made a trailer of your talk, which now can be used on social media to drive traffic to your main talk. More upward pressure on what you want to achieve: global authority, massive impact, and fame and fortune. Leverage number 3. Now that you're building your personal credibility, let's express your idea, the idea that found its way into a talk, onto a video. Let's express that in other formats. Bottom left corner, BACIT stands for book or books, articles, courses, interviews, and talks. These are the formats that I recommend you repurpose your idea into. Also, you're an international bestseller now. You've collaborated with the other speakers on that TEDx event, and you've created a little anthology style book. This is a skinny version, and this is a fat version. They're both anthology style books. And everybody collaborates to promote the book in order to win, for each of the authors of the book, Amazon best-selling international author status. Another badge of honor. More pressure on what it is we want to achieve. We want global authority, massive impact, fame, and fortune. And we still have a 4th leverage to go. And that leverage is publicity. Targeted publicity to reach your ideal audiences. You now have all the credentials in the world, and now we want to get you on stages. Stages where you can make the recordings of your performance. We want to get you into magazines. We want to get you into both print and online resources so that you can leverage off those and reach massive audiences. Just take a look at what you've just built on the left-hand side. You're a content expert, you always were, but now you're a TEDx speaker, you're a YouTube rock star, you're an Amazon international bestseller, and you've been seen on many publications. Imagine the impact of you doing an interview with Oprah. Wow, that's the holy grail. And those are all recorded. Massive impact on what you want. Global authority, massive impact, fame and fortune. Now, you might be thinking that this is theory. Allow me to assure you that this is anything but theory. In 2009, now 2009 was the first year that TEDx videos were made. So Simon Sinek was there at the very beginning. Now he's a household name around the world. The 21M means 21 million video views that Simon's talk has attracted since 2009. A little bit of background will be helpful here. Simon had nothing more than a BA in anthropology. He knew a lot about communities, societies, and cultures. His talk was called Start With Why. He delivered his talk at an itsy bitsy little TEDx event called TEDx Puget Sound. TEDx Puget Sound had such little budget that the mic broke down halfway through Simon's talk. And the people, the good folks at TEDx Puget Sound, didn't have the presence to put a piece of masking tape on top of the what's the paper called? Flip chart. The flip chart that Simon was using. Look at the top left. Office Depot got themselves a nice little bit of advertising. 21 million people have seen that Office Depot had something to do with TEDx Puget Sound, and it was a total accident. Dr. Google tells me that Simon is now registered as a speaker consultant, makes $4 million a year, and his net worth is now floating around 15 million US dollars. Is Simon unique? Well, I think not, because the next year along came a nobody who's now a global name, Brené Brown. Her video has had 17 million views since it was launched in 2010. 2 years later, along came Amy Cuddy, same pattern, 19 million video views. Now, you might think that They're unique. But let's bring this pattern of high performance to something local and something more current. TEDx Stanley Park is what I'm intimately familiar with because all the speakers were my trainees. So Maureen McGrath took the stage in 2016. She's had 27 million video views. Maureen's sexual health practice has just flourished since her TEDx Stanley Park talk. Isabelle Mercier took the stage in the same year. This was also the year that Iman did his speech. Isabelle earned 3 million video views, moved from a one-bedroom condo in the Yaletown district in Vancouver to 6,000 square feet on Vancouver Island, where she's now running a thriving strategic planning practice. Bill Stainton, who lives in Mukilteo in the state of Washington, Bill had a different motive from most of my speakers. Bill wanted to do nothing more than double his speaking fee. Bill couldn't really care less about video views. He just wanted to capture snippets from the video so that he could prove his credibility. Bill is an amazing speaker. And within 2 weeks of him launching his video, his speaking fee had gone from 10,000 US to 20,000 US, where it is to this day. And finally, Jackie Way took a small local charity and built it into a international charity. It's called 365 Give. And Jacqueline did that on the back of a highly successful TEDx Stanley Park talk, which since has gone on to earn 5 million video views. I have a question for you. If Simon and Brene and Amy can do it, if Bill and Jacqueline and forgetting names, if they can do it, why can't you? And I suspect the answer is because you don't know how. So now let's segue into answering the question of, well, how do you do this? Here we are traveling from the left to the right. I want you to take 4 steps. Step number 1 is take a few, don't jump into this. Take a few weeks to get information, figure out your strategy and your tactics. You don't get any marks for launching quickly and prematurely. You want to do this right. This is a massive investment and has massive consequences on your life, personal and professional. So let's get this right from the get-go. Step number two, write your script. Writing your script is not something you do night before. Write your script is a multi-month, be patient, exercise. I'll go into more detail in a moment. Then deliver it, speak. Make sure you speak on the right stage. And finally is your scale. Let's take your idea, let's take your newfound credibility, let's take your added inventory of marketing assets and scale this idea so that the world pays attention to you, to your idea, takes action, makes the world a better place, which is your intention in the first place. What kind of timeline are we talking about? If you start soon, you can have your strategy all done by the end of July. Then you can segue into your scripting, 2 to 4 months. That takes August, September, October, November. Then December, November, December, January, great time for you to speak on the right TEDx stage. And then for the balance of 2022 and beyond, you're scaling. As you scale, you're building global authority, you're having massive impact, and you're creating fame and fortune for yourself. Now let's break down each of these: strategy, script, speak, and scale, so that you know exactly what you need to be doing. Start with strategy. Here you are, bottom left, you have an idea. Top right, you want to be like Simon and Brene and Amy. 7 steps. Step number 1, stop thinking small. Stop thinking that your TED style talk is simply a 15 to 18 minute talk on a stage. Think much bigger. There is a huge opportunity out there, starting with your TEDx talk, which must be world-class in order to be leverageable. But you can go through these 4 steps. You can seize this big opportunity. It's there waiting for you. But it demands that you think bigger from the get-go than just a 15-minute talk. Step number 2 is build your success plan. I call it a success plan. Others might call it a strategic plan. Your strategic plan needs information in numbers 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. But the main deliverable from your first step is your success plan. It contains your wisdom that you have accumulated over the course of those June and July months. Craft your talk online. It doesn't say, outline. It doesn't say craft your talk. It's craft your talk outline. Next, craft your story outline. Your talk is going to contain a story. That story has to move hearts and minds, particularly yours. Let's get the outline done first. Know what your delivery options are. I do not want you to start thinking about delivery until you're within 4 weeks of your event, because it's very difficult to unlearn delivery in the event that a script needs to be changed. Apply to the right event, hugely important. The deliverable from your event is the video. It has to be superb quality. Many smaller events that have very low budgets are unable to produce the quality of video that you need in order to leverage into the other aspects that we pointed out a little bit earlier. So choose the right event, and let's make you a champion chess player. Let's equip you with what you need to know 3 moves from now or 4 moves from now. And to do that, you really need to know how to promote, when to promote. And so that's what number 7 is all about. Understand the promotion options available to you and know when to deploy them. Number 2, script. There are 4 clarities you must have in, these are the building blocks for your TEDx talk, for your TED style talk. You must have complete clarity around the problem you're addressing, around the solution/idea, interchangeable terms in the context that we're discussing. You must know who your ideal client is, because you want this talk to resonate with your ideal client. And you must know what your call is. I split the call to action into call and actions. Actions enable the call to happen. There's we don't have time for a detailed explanation. Just accept these are the 4 clarities you need to know. Let's get clear on your talk structure. Let's write drafts. You notice plural. Iman, I believe Iman wrote 60-something drafts. I want you to keep all your drafts, because whenever it comes time to write your book, I don't want you to take your 1,800 or your 1,500 words and that becomes your chapter. Let's go back to those drafts where we've created some great content that we're not using and add that content back into your chapter to create a more meaty chapter. Now we are going to apply no less than 21 script screens. These are taking your script and screening it to make sure we've got a check mark against that thing that's really important, that makes the difference between a not so amazing TEDx talk and an amazing TEDx talk. For example, are your sentences short? If any sentence exceeds 15 words, it's probably too long. Just an example. Now we're going to stand, we're not going to stand, we're probably seated in Zoom, and we're delivering our script to live test audiences. We want to see how they react and when they react in order to be able to tweak, to make our talk a little bit better. And you are going to be doing multiples of live test audience and tweaking. And finally, you reach a point of internalizing. What does internalizing mean? What is the letter in the alphabet that follows A? Immediately you said B. That's what internalizing is. And yes, you need to know your script that well. It needs to be on automatic so you can focus on other things during your delivery. The next one is scripting. Let me see how I'm doing for time. I think we're okay. The next one is scripting, is actually speaking, in other words, delivery. Now we take your script, which you have internalized, and now we run the delivery of your script through 12 screens, 12 check marks. Did he or she do this, this, and this, times 12. Back to our live test audiences, but now it's live. We're not on Zoom. We're actually live in front of a group of people. Might be your Toastmasters club. It might be your fellow speakers. It might be any number of situations that we can come up with that will create this live test audience for you. Make sure while we do this that we're videotaping it so you, the speaker, can see what's happening. Only then will you believe that, yes, you do scratch every time something happens. More tweaking, test, review, tweak, test, review, tweak multiple times. Now here's a weird one. Yes, we are going to ask you to practice standing ovation. How do you get a standing ovation? It doesn't happen by accident. We want to make sure it's authentic, but we know that you're going to take the stage and you will deserve that standing ovation. But we now need to trigger, to tickle the audience, to actually give it to you, and we'll teach you how to do that. Let's make sure we have our dress rehearsal in the theater, and you have in your hand the clicker you're going to use if you're going to use slides, so you're familiar with the technology. Then you deliver your talk. And that talk is captured on video. Now you need to get video views. There's not a lot of talk, not a lot of point delivering the world's most amazing speech if no one gets to see it outside of the live audience. We're going to convert your idea into a book or books, the anthology style books I mentioned a little bit here earlier, so that you can become an Amazon best-selling author and add to your credibility. So now you're quite a credible individual and you have accumulated an inventory of marketing assets. It's time now to go leverage and use publicity as our leverage tool to get there. We're going to write more articles. We're going to write courses. We're going to do interviews. Oprah, I mentioned earlier. Wow, if we could ever get that, game changing. You're going to do talks on other stages. Right now, you have a 15-minute talk, but that talk can be expanded into a 3-hour talk, a 1-day talk, a 3-day talk. All those adjustments need to be made. So those now are a quick description of the 4 steps that take you from being a content expert and a big idea with a limited impact to being a global authority, a massive impact, and fame and fortune, and the approximate time frame for you to do that. I'm just keeping on here. Are there any questions? I don't see any.
So one question is that, are you going to share your slides? Or is there any way for people to get the slides?
Well, everyone is going to get the recording.
The recording. Okay.
So that's probably better than sharing a slide deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you.
Way back when, at the beginning of this talk, I told you I was going to give you an exclusive offer.
Actually, there is another question. What does BACIT stands for?
Okay, B is books, A is articles, C is courses, I is interviews, and T is talks. BACIT.
Okay, and okay, perfect. Thanks, Ted.
All right. Here are our 4 steps. It probably will not surprise you to realize that I have a course for each step. The strategy course is called Legacy Talk Success Roadmap. The scripting talk is called Legacy Talk Done With You. The delivery or the speaking talk is called Legacy Talk Done With You, this time stage 2. And the scale talk is called, with an incredible imagination, Scale Your Idea. The offer is around the strategy course. Legacy Talk Success Roadmap is what I'm going to give you an exclusive offer around right now. The course is 6 one-hour weekly live online Zoom classes. There are 4 elements to each class. You're going to receive a guide. I'm going to send it to you via email before the class, and that is about what the class content. During the class, we're going to review, discuss, add examples so that you really get what's in the guide. After the class, there's homework around that subject matter. And after the homework, there's a peer group meeting where you and two or three or 4 others of your peers in the class, facilitated by myself, we're going to meet and discuss the homework and iron out any bugs. This is not a spectator sport. This is not observe, hang out in the background and get nothing done. This is a get it done course. So the best way for me to do that is to facilitate you getting your homework done. And by the end of 6 weeks, you will be flabbergasted at the progress that you have made in terms of clarity and moving towards brevity of your talk design. At the end of each class, I'm going to invite a guest speaker who is a seasoned TEDx speaker. Some of the people that I mentioned a little earlier from TEDx Stanley Park will be guests, and they will come for 45 minutes and answer any of your questions. So you'll hear from the horse's mouth how they did it, what they would have done differently, what has life been like since they did it, and anything you want to know, they will be delighted to help you. Every session will be recorded and you'll be sent a copy of the recordings so that if life happens and you have to miss a class, at least you're able to catch up. The classes start on June the 21st, that's a Monday, at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, and they end 6 weeks later on July the 26th. We work through the public holidays. There's one in Canada during that period, and there's one in the US during that period. But because we're Monday night and you'll have a lot of notice, hopefully you can accommodate showing up, even though it's a public holiday in your country. What do you get from this class? I just thought you'd like to see this slide again. I've described it already, but you get everything you get under the 7 steps. The big deliverable is you've created a custom success plan. You've applied to the right event. You've created your success plan based on new information that you didn't used to have regarding points number 3, 4, 5, and 7. The regular price for this is just short of $2,000. I've decided to give you a massive 60% discount. So the price is $797. Canadians, for you, this price includes your GST. In addition, Bonus number one is I will give you 2 30-minute private sessions, private one-on-one with me, and we can talk about anything that's relevant to this course. And the second bonus is that after you register and before the course starts, I want you and I to have a preparation meeting so that you're well equipped to take full advantage, to get your maximum ROI from your investment in this program. Our preparation meeting will take in the order of 1 hour, and we'll do that on Zoom. You have a 100% money back guarantee until the end of the second online class, by which time you'll know exactly where we're going, what we're going to do, the quality of the material you get, the quality of a peer group meeting. Does this serve you? And you're super well informed to know if you should pull out of this course and get your money back, or carry on and realize that yes, indeed, it can take you to that rectangle on the extreme right. Yes, it can take you to massive impact, global authority, and fame and fortune for yourself. Now, this offer expires on Friday. Today is Tuesday. So you've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday until midnight Pacific, or wherever that is in your own time zone, to make a decision. Action steps. Beg your pardon. You are probably wondering to yourself right now, what kind of value does a $797 investment represent? What am I going to get? Take a look at the rectangle on the right. At the end of your journey, our goal is to give you the right to be called a global authority, the ability to make massive impact, and during your journey to pick up fame and fortune. I've told you that I've worked with 100 and something speakers. I've given you real life examples of 4 of them from TEDx Stanley Park, who have made a very substantial amounts of money, but they are simply tip of the iceberg. They are simply 4 out of 104. It's very easy to see how that fame and fortune line can represent a great deal of money. Simon Sinek, apparently worth $14 million, and you can become another Simon Sinek. So that fame and fortune amount, albeit impossible to define, is huge relative to a $797 investment. I hope you will agree with me. Worst case, you find out that I'm not telling you the truth, that I don't deliver, and you get your money back in a heartbeat just for asking for it. What do? Some of you have enough information to buy now, in which case I ask you to go to that link, which I will type into the chat, make life easy for you. Copy. Oh, everyone in meeting. Paste. So I've just typed that into the chat. When you go follow that link, it will take you to a button, which is the regular price for this course. Click on that button, reserve my place, and that takes you to the payment page where you add in a coupon code EIN, or uppercase or lowercase, and that will discount that price down to $797. That's for those of you who are sufficiently comfortable that this is right for you. Some of you, however, might have some questions, in which case I would ask you to book a 30-minute Zoom call with me, and let's see if you're a good fit, particularly if the idea you've got is a good fit for the TEDx stage. Please book that Zoom call with me as soon as possible, and let's get this rolling. My fellow entrepreneurs, it's not easy to become a global authority. It's not easy to make massive impact. But I think that I have stumbled on by accident a way that you can get from here to there a method that has been proven many times, and a method that I've simply codified, made simple, made step-by-step simple, so you get from here to there. I'm now going to conclude this workshop, but make myself available for any questions that you might have. I'm going to stop share and come back on screen. So fire away.
Thank you, Roger. Great job. Amazing job. And let's get ready to go to the chat box and give a round of, I don't know, Roger rocks in the chat box for Roger as for thank you and as a standing ovation, as he put it. And Roger, we have a question from Catherine Cohen, and Catherine said she has already delivered the TEDx talk. Is this a good course for her to deliver another TEDx talk?
And well, I have a clear conflict of interest in that answer. Emphatically, yes. But if you have any doubts, Catherine, please talk to me on Zoom. Let's do that 30-minute calendar call, and let's explore, because I have no idea what your talk is. I don't know if it's a fit. I don't know what your past experience was. I don't know what your past training has been. All these things should be explored before you can make an informed decision, yes or no.
Okay. Awesome. Perfect. And there is a lot of there are lots of testimonials for you in the chat box from students who are going through your program right now and saying this is one of the best programs they've taken. Tap into Roger's experience, tap into this. Kayla saying, I'm so pleased to have taken this course with Roger. Okay. And thank you for clarifying. Great job, Roger, Roger, Roger. If anybody has any questions, feel free to go to the chat box and also ask your questions in the chat box. Sometimes the chat box and the questions go super fast. So I need to be able to catch up.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
So there's a question from Crystal.
Okay.
Would you advise having your book courses in different iterations of your talk ready to go prior to delivering your talk on the TEDx stage? No. Your talk on a TEDx stage is pretty intense. And so the time availability to have all that other collateral, no, it's not time to do that initially. You're building your credibility step by step. You want to be in a very credible position ultimately, but you don't get there instantly. Now, if you happen to have some of those other repurposed idea versions, that's wonderful, but don't go out of your way. Focus on one thing at a time. Get that done, get it done to a very high level of excellence, and then move on to the next step. And also, you're going to find as you go through the TEDx training process, you're going to find that you change your mind on a whole pile of stuff. You're going to have to become super focused, and that super focus will cause you to realize that there's A, quality content, B, quality content, and C, quality content, and just maybe you got a whole pile of that C quality content in other iterations of your idea, and it really needs to be focused. In TED style world, less is more. Brevity, clarity are the two driving forces in your TED style journey. Do you have a package deal for all 4 courses, Michael? No, I don't. I want to work with you in course number 1 to see if I want to work with you in course numbers 2, 3, and 4. And so I do not want to sell all 4 courses. Let course number 1 be the course where we feel each other out, because it's an intense relationship starting course 2, 3, and 4. And let's make sure that we're that I can be the wingman on your TEDx flight and really contribute to your success. You apply for courses 2, 3, and 4, but you're instantly accepted into course number 1.
Justin says, can you share some guidelines for what kind of topics are good fit?
Every TEDx talk that really works is a solution, a creative solution. You're the creator, a creative solution to one of humanity's pressing problems. Your talk cannot have too big a scope or too small a scope. Very focused, dealing with a relatively small scope topic. But the topic itself is a solution to one of humanity's pressing problems. It's for that reason that the structure of your talk is, the opening is an engaging story. What's the problem? What's the pain? What's the solution, your idea? What are the benefits of the solution? What's your call? What are the actions that realize your call? Okay. How often do you run the course? Asked Janet. Twice a year. That's an approximate answer. Twice a year is what I'm thinking of doing. In a private chat, how many seats in your course? I don't want to have too many students. 20 is too many. So I want to have a relatively small number of students. There's only 4, 5 students at most in each peer group. So ideally, I'd like to have something that has a multiple of 4 or 5, but that's not that hard to do.
So, Roger, actually, on the how often do you run the course? I have a question for you on that. Can a person invest on the course today with the current offer and then says, I want to start it next time you're running? So I want to take advantage of the current offer today, but I can't start studying now. I want to study next time.
No, this is an exclusive offer just for this audience, for the people who registered to attend this event. It's purely for you. I will review the pricing next time I do this. A 60% discount, I think you'll agree, is a pretty darn whopping discount. And it's unlikely that I will repeat that level of discount. So the short answer to your question, Iman, is no.
Okay. So, perfect. And I think that answers all the questions in the chat box.
All right. So why don't I end the recording, and then we'll move on with the next part of our meeting.
I'm just going to put the link for everybody in the chat box one more time. So the link for taking action right now is in the chat box, and I'll take you to the page for $1,997. You guys can click on it, because when the event ends, you're not going to be able to get access to it again. So click on it, and then on that link, you can reserve your place right away, or you can book a clarity call. Both links are actually there. Roger, back to you and all yours.
All right. I'd just like to thank you all for your attention. I feel like I've kind of given you a bit of a monologue, but bear with me. The whole point was to convey information, and I hope you received that. I hope it was as brief as possible and as clear as possible. In other words, I'm trying to model what your TEDx talk will look like. Thank you very much for your time and attention.